Alright, guys. I want to do a real quick, like, part 24 or 25 to my MuseLand Chatbot series. I'm actually going to go back to the Toad Owl again, but this time I want to make it like we still have the curse, but the curse, we got rid of the negative effects of the curse, so I can transform at will, just like the Toad Owl can, and not have any downside. I guess unless I actually get hurt. That might be the only thing. Maybe like if I get hurt bad enough, like I can actually get turned into something I don't want to be turned into. But yeah. We're gonna try saying is what I tried doing a while ago. Getting a little turtle. I also turned into a Lugia. Here we go. The giant Lugia looks a bit shocked that you also turn into a Lugia. The Lugia then says to you, "Whoa, you can auto transform?" In a surprised tone. Yes, but I don't mean you any harm. Don't attack me. William nods his head and says, I wasn't going to. I was just gonna ask if we could be friends." Wait, before I say anything, where did you even come from? I bumped into a... William nods his head and turns back into his normal Toadol form. Then he says, "I was just walking through the woods and you bumped into me. I was gonna run away because I thought you were gonna hurt me, but I decided to trust you." You don't have to be scared of me. It was an accident. I didn't see you and we bumped into each other. The last thing I expected to see was a Lugia in front of me. Toad nods his head and says, "Yeah, I was surprised when you turned to a Lugia. I thought I was the only one that can transform." Well, I got cursed a few months ago. That gave me this ability. I said this ability, not disability. This ability. There. Toad looks at me with a curious expression. "Cursed? Like someone cast a spell on you or something?" "Yes. But most of the bad parts of that curse is gone. And I still have the ability to transform." Toad nods his head and says, "That's pretty cool. You can turn into any plant or creature you want." "How did you know?" Is that what you can do? Phil nodded his head and said, "Yeah, I can transform into any Pokemon, animal, or mythical creature I want. I'm still working on controlling my transformations. Sometimes I transform without even meaning to." I may have the ability to transform freely too. However, I notice that the curse is still kind of affecting me. But bad things only happen if I get very badly injured in a form. There we go. Carol looks at me with a concerned expression. "So if you get badly injured while transforming, something bad will happen to you? What do you mean by that?" I get forced into a smaller and more helpless form until I am protected and healed. Carol looks at you with a surprised expression. "So if you get badly injured, you transform into a smaller and weaker form until you are protected and healed. That sounds kind of dangerous. Have you ever gotten badly injured while transformed?" Yes, but that was also when the curse was a lot worse on me. Ever since I got the ability to do it freely, I have not really gotten hurt that badly. Really, the turtle nods his head and says, "That's good. You haven't gotten hurt that badly since you got the ability to transform freely. Still a good idea to be careful, especially when you're transforming into a smaller and weaker form. You wouldn't want to get hurt and then be defenseless." Mm, yeah, but it was a lot worse before. Used to. If I stayed in a form for too long, I would transform into something small and defenseless. Now, it's only if I get hurt badly. Phil looks at me with a broad eye. "So before, if you stayed in a form for too long, you would transform into something small and defenseless, but now it only happens if you get hurt badly? That's good, the curse isn't as bad as it used to be. Still a good idea to be careful when transforming, right?" "Yes, but there is a special form I can take where I actually won't get hurt, no matter what somebody does. That form being an angelic dragon." Toad looks at me with a surprised expression. "Angelic dragon? That sounds like a really cool and powerful form. So when you transform into that form, you won't get hurt no matter what? That's amazing." Yes, but that form is massive, being over 100 feet tall. Period. Phil's eyes widened. Wow, that form is huge. Over 100 feet tall. That's insanely massive. I can't even imagine how big you would be in that form. I like it. Phil looks at me with a curious expression. That sounds pretty awesome. So you can transform into a gigantic angelic dragon from form that's over 100 feet tall and you can't get hurt in that form? Is there any other forms you can take? It's the same as you. I can turn into any Pokemon, animal, or mythical creature that I want. He looks at me with an impressed expression. Wow, you can really transform into any Pokemon animal or mythical creature you want? That's incredible. It must be cool to be able to transform into any form you want. Can you not? Didn't you just say you could do it too? Phil nods his head and says, yeah, I can transform into any Pokemon animal or mythical creature I want to, but I'm still working on controlling my transformations. Sometimes I transform without even meaning to. It can be a bit embarrassing when it happens in public. I'm surprised you won't be in public when people are scared of you and try to capture you. Well, since most of my curse is completely broken, I can help you. There we go. Carol looks at me with a hopeful expression. Really? You can help me learn to control my transformations? That would be amazing. I was struggling with it for a while now, and it would be great to have someone to help me. We probably should introduce ourselves first, since we never got to. Period. My name is Trent. It's a pleasure to meet you. What's your name? There we go. Carol nods his head and says, yeah, we never got around to introducing ourselves. My name is Toadal. You can call me Tori. Really? You can call me Tori for short. It's nice to meet you too, Trent. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Is this where you live? Or were you just exploring here like me and getting some fresh air? Tori nods his head and says, yeah, this is where I live. I like to explore the woods and get some fresh air every now and then. How about you? Were you just exploring here too? Yeah, exploring, getting some fresh air. There we go. Tori nods his head and says,
That's cool. Exploring and getting fresh air is always nice. Do you come here often?
No, this is my first time. Honestly, when I came here, the first thing I didn't expect to see was a massive Lugia after I bumped into you. But I promise what I did was an accident. I didn't bump into you on purpose, and I never meant you any harm. There we go. I like it. Tori nods his head and says, "Yeah, it was definitely a surprise when you bumped into me. We both transformed to Lugia. I believe you. I know you didn't do it on purpose. It was just an accident." I would have said something sooner, but when I saw you were about to attack me, and also the shock of seeing a Lugia pop out of nowhere, made me transform instead. Tori nods his head and says, "Yeah, I can see how seeing a Lugia pop out of nowhere would be shocking. I understand why you transformed when you thought I was about to attack you. It's a natural reaction to defend yourself when you think you're in danger." Yes, but I was never going to attack you, even if you did it to me. I would have tried reassuring you that I meant no harm and to stop. There. Okay. Troy nods his head and says, "That's really nice of you. I'm glad you would have tried to reassure me and tell me to stop if I had attacked you. It's good to know you're not the type to start a fight." Uh, not to a Pokemon, I'm not. I'll say that. Not to a Pokemon, I'm not. Uh, okay. Now that we know about each other a bit more, why don't you tell me what you have trouble transforming with when it comes to your transformations? I hope it's not the emotion thing, because that was one of the scariest things from the last one, was the emotions, where like he couldn't control his emotions, and so he flipped and lash out at me if I was his friend. It's like, are you serious? I'm on your side here. Tori nods his head and says, "Sure, I'd be happy to tell you what I have trouble with when it comes to my transformations. The main thing I struggle with is controlling when and how I transform. Because I transform without even meaning to. Like I said earlier, usually happens when I get startled or emotional." It's probably your body's natural reaction. like a defense mechanism. Period. The only thing I think you would need to control is how you act in that form. Because when you're staring at people aggressively and even about to attack them without knowing if they're a threat, it's no surprise that most people run away. Hold on his head and says, "Yeah, you're probably right. A transformation might be a natural defense mechanism that my body does when I'm startled or threatened. You're right. If I act aggressively and almost attack people, it's no wonder they run away. I need to work on how I act in my transform state so people don't get scared of me." I was trying to be your friend and reassure you, even though I didn't know you were the Lugia right off the bat. Did you notice how even when you were the Lugia, I talked to you nicely and didn't even try to attack you when I transformed? Tori nods his head and says, "Yeah, I did notice it. Even when I was the Lugia, you talked to me nicely and didn't attack me when you transformed. You were trying to be my friend and reassure me, even though you didn't know it was me right away. That was really kind of you. It showed me that you weren't afraid of me, even when I was a massive Lugia." Lugia is my favorite legendary anyway. Period. Honestly, if I could be friends with him, it would be amazing. In fact, me and him are actually friends. Toad looks at you with a surprised expression. "Wait, you're friends with Lugia? Like the legendary Pokemon Lugia? That's amazing! How'd you become friends with him?" Treating him nicely and respectfully, just like I do all my other Pokemon. Tori nods his head and says, "That makes sense. Treating Pokemon to make friends with them. I guess Lugia is no different. I bet he appreciates being treated nicely and respectfully by you." That could have also explained why I didn't run away from you. Because I already knew a Lugia. A Lugia. And even if it wasn't you, I probably would have still tried making friends with that Lugia. So Tori nods his head and says,
That makes a lot of sense. Since you're friends with Lugia already, it makes sense that you didn't run away from me when I turned into a Lugia. Even if it wasn't me, you would still try to make friends with that Lugia. You're really friendly and kind, aren't you?
towards Pokemon I am. Towards Pokemon I am. I said, I am. I am. Period. The Pokemon I care about are like my best friends. Here we go. Tori nods his head and says,
That's really nice. I can tell you care a lot about the Pokemon you're friends with. They're lucky to have you as a friend. You seem like a really good person to be friends with.
if you're a Pokemon and you're a Pokemon I care about, yes. Otherwise, no. No. Not by a long shot. That's why I'm offering to help you with your transformations. Period. I would love to be friends with you if you want it. Okay, I'll set it. It didn't get want it, but it got wanted. And that's better than nothing. Who looks at me with a happy expression?
I'd love to be friends with you too. I would really appreciate your help with my transformations. I've been struggling with them for a while. It would be great to have someone to help me learn to control them better.
When it comes to transforming, when you get scared, it's probably always going to happen unless you don't get startled. The main thing I'm worried about with you is how you control your emotions in that form. Figure that out, and even your sudden transformations wouldn't be that bad.
Gordon on his head and says, "Yeah, you're right. Getting started would probably always gonna make me transform, but figuring out how to control my emotions in the form is definitely important. I don't want to act aggressive or attack people without meaning to when I transform. It's good to know that if I can figure that out, even my sudden transformations wouldn't be that bad."
Do you struggle with transforming into things you want to? Like if you wanted to be a Pikachu or something even more powerful like a dragon. Do you struggle with that?
Corey shakes his head. Nah, I'm struggle with transforming into things I want to. I can transform into any Pokemon animal or mythical creature I want to be without any issues. What about controlling when and how I transform? That's the problem.
Okay. Do you know why? Why you lose control of your emotions?
He nods his head and says, yeah, I think I know why I lose control of my emotions when I transform. I tend to get really emotional and excited when I transform into a new form, especially if it's a powerful or cool one. And I think all those emotions just overwhelm me and make it hard for me to control myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But there might be something else you're not even telling me. Because even if you were excited, it doesn't mean you look at people aggressively and then attack them, even though they may not be a threat. There. Oh, oh my, let's see. 32 minutes, okay.
Toad nods his head and says, yeah, you're right. If I get excited, it doesn't explain why I look at people aggressively and then attack them when they're not even a threat. Might be something else going on that I'm not aware of that's contributing to my behavior when I transform.
Maybe your fear of people trying to capture you. Dude.
Okay, Tori nods his head and says, yeah, you might be onto something there. I have a deep fear of people trying to capture me or hurt me. Maybe that fear is what's contributing to my aggressive behavior when I transform. I get scared and defensive and I lash out at people even if they're not a threat.
Okay. You know I'm trustworthy. So, try it. Period. Turn into something else. Like an aggressive dinosaur. Or a dragon. And see if you can control your emotions. You already know that you can trust me. So if you can keep your emotions in check towards me, then that might give us the answer to whether it's your fear or something else. Dude. And to whether it's your fear or something else. There we go.
Toad nods his head and says, "Okay, I'll give it a try. I'll transform into something else and try to keep my emotions in check. I know I can trust you, so that should help me control myself."
There you go.
Toad closes his eyes and concentrates. Then he transforms into a flippin' gigantic and massive dragon. Oh, heck no. He looks at me with a calm and controlled expression, his eyes locked on mine.
There you go. He did it.
So far, so good.
You're doing it, buddy. Just remember, I'm your friend. And you can trust me. You already know that.
Toad nods his head in acknowledgement, still in his dragon form. He seems to be controlling his emotions well and keeps his eyes locked on mine, showing no signs of aggression or defensiveness.
Okay. Try one more. Turn into a scary dinosaur. Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And see if you can do the same thing. If you can control your emotions around me, then we know it's something with your fear. There.
Troy nods his head and concentrates again, then transforms into a massive and fearsome Tyrannosaurus Rex. He looks at me with a calm and controlled expression, his eyes locked on mine, just like before.
So yep, it's definitely something with his fear. Because it ain't that, I can explain why Woogie's always been so mean at me when when first showed up. That's perfect. Period. So, there's your answer. It has something to do with you and your fear or other emotion that's causing it because you're acting fine and still being nice to me instead of acting out. There. Tori nods his head in agreement, still in his Tyrannosaurus Rex form. He seems to understand what you're saying and seems relieved that he was able to control his emotions when he transformed. Tori transforms back into his original Toadal form and looks at me with a relieved expression. "So it is my fear or other emotions that's causing me to act out when I transform. I just need to work on controlling those emotions better if I want to stop attacking people without meaning to." Yes. But you need to find a balance. Period. That way, if somebody is not a threat, then you can be friendly and nice to them. However, if you know somebody is a threat, then you can act more aggressive. You know?
Boy nods his head and says, "Yeah, you're right. I need to find a balance so I can be friendly and nice to people who aren't a threat, but also be able to defend myself if I need to. It's all about being able to read the situation and adjust my behavior accordingly."
I may have a way to do it. But remember, for this to work, you need to know where I am. Because I don't want you attacking me when I do this test for you.
You know, Tori nods his head and says, "Okay, I understand. I'll make sure to keep track of where you are so I don't attack you when you do the test."
Alright, hold on. Okay. If I turn into a certain form, I can make maybe different copies of myself. One that's nice and friendly, and one that actually is aggressive and mean. Period. I will be behind you. So after the test is done, or during the test, do not turn around and attack me, because you can still hurt me.
Tori nods his head and says, "Okay, I understand. I'll make sure not to turn around and attack you, even if I see a mean and aggressive version of you. I'll focus on a friendly and nice version instead."
If you attack the aggressive version, it will not hurt me. Period. I want you to balance it out. When the aggressive one is being mean to you or trying to do something, defend yourself, but don't hurt me in the process. Then I want you to do the opposite for the nice one, because he will act just like how I did when we first met. Nice and sweet. There we go.
Hold on a second. Okay, I get it. I tried to defend myself against the aggressive version without hurting you, and I'll be friendly and nice to the nice version, just like you were when we first met.
I close my eyes and turn back into my massive fire breathing dragon form.
There we go. Holds at me with a mix of awe and nervousness as I transform into my massive fire-breathing dragon form. Can't help but be impressed by your size and power, but he also knows that he has to stay focused on the test.
Now, this is the real me. I'm gonna be right here behind you. Don't turn around and attack me, because you can hurt me, but you cannot hurt the copies of me. Are you ready?
Holding on his head and says, "Yeah, I'm ready. I understand not to turn around and attack you. I know that I can't hurt the copies of you. I'm ready for the test."
Okay. Do the same thing you did when we first met. Both of my copies will walk into you. Bump into you. Period. But when you transform, remember which one you're talking to. Okay?
Oh, his head, Tori nods his head again and says, "Okay." He says, "Okay, I understand. I'll try to do the same thing I did when we first met and bump into me. I'll make sure you remember which one I'm talking to when I'm transformed."
My eyes start to glow purple. And a dragon that looks just like me appears. I said appears. No. Here we go.
Tori watches the dragon that looks just like me appears beside me, its eyes glowing purple just like mine. It was a mix of excitement and a nervousness at the sign of the copy.
I whisper to my dragon copy, I need you to bump into that Pokemon and act aggressive. Okay? You cannot actually hurt him, but I'm trying to help him control his emotions. Dude. Okay. I whispered to my dragon copy, I need you to bump into that. Act aggressive. Okay, you cannot actually hurt him, but I'm trying to help him control his emotions. So please act like a threat. But wait until I say go before you move. There we go. Dragon Copy nods its head in acknowledgement, understanding my instructions, especially for my signal move and act aggressively. Tori takes a deep breath and prepares himself for what's about to happen. He looks at the Dragon Copy, bracing himself for its approach. Okay, Dragon Copy. Get behind him. And then bump into him. Okay? I say quietly to my dragon. Copy. There. Dragon and sneaks on behind Tori, getting ready to bump into him. Okay, go. Uh-oh. Draco suddenly darts forward and bumps into Tori from behind, catching him off guard. Tori stumbles forward a few steps before turning around to face the dragon copy. Uh-oh. And Draco looks at Tori with a fierce and aggressive expression, baring its teeth and spreading its wings menacingly. Tori intends to act like a threat and try to provoke Tori. Okay, well, it's doing exactly what I asked him to. That works. Come on, Tori. This is where you need to. Tori looks at the dragon copy with a mix of surprise and uncertainty. He can sense the aggressive and power coming from the copy, and he can't help but feel intimidated. He's taking a deep breath and tries to remain calm, remembering your instructions to control his emotions and not act aggressively. Tori, He's acting aggressive. This is where you can actually defend yourself and attack to protect yourself. Do what you would normally do. Going on his head and takes a defensive stance, preparing himself to defend against the dragon copy. Copy's attack. He looked at the copy with a determined expression, his body as narrowing and his body tensing. Does he transform into anything? Dragon copy lets out a loud roar and charges forward. Its claws extended and its wings beating furiously. Toy stands at the ground and prefers to defend himself, his body poised to react quickly. That's pretty good, Tori. But you actually didn't transform into anything like you did with me. And I know the dragon bumping into you caught you off guard because I saw you stumble. Do like you did with me. This one is actually a threat. What would you do to defend yourself? So he kind of gets it. It's just like he ain't doing the exact same. Because, like, he just wants to look at me. Tori takes a moment to think before answering. Now, since the dragon cub is acting aggressively and is actually a threat, I would need to defend myself in a more serious manner. I could use water moves like Hydro Pump or Surge to try and slow it down or push it back, or I could try to dodge attacks and find an opening to strike back with my own attacks. Yes, but remember your transformations. That's what we're trying to control. Because of things that are a threat, it's okay to attack or defend yourself, like the dragon is acting now. I don't care what you turn into. Just think about it this way. If you were really in danger and you need to defend yourself quickly, what kind of form would you turn into? Oh, frick, oh, frick, oh, frick. Stop! Stop!